Alrighty, welcome to the race, ladies and gentlemen. Apologies for the delay on the start of the stream. This is RoadMaster today at Virginia International. Currently starting off the race with 10 minutes in on the stream, we have Gergo leading in first place, followed by Angelo Moranti in second, Darius Timms holding at third, Green in fourth, Cody Canady in fifth, followed by Colby Canady in sixth, the new driver this race. Matthew Warwas in seventh, and Ty Simon currently in eighth. These are our current drivers on the grid for today. You'll have to get give me a moment to get affiliate or comfortable with the cars we're seeing on track. That is Darius Timms we're currently following. We're going to make sure all of our cameras are following properly as well. Chasing after the number 20 is going to be Cody Canady there behind. The purple car is green. And that is Cody Canady right there. And it looks like a car in the back's gone off. That is going to be the number 5 of Angelo Moranti, who is chasing after Gergo. Lots of action as we get started in this late delayed stream. This is Shift E Racing's RoadMaster Racing Series. Green is currently doing his best to continue his pace, riding off onto the curb just a little bit there. He doesn't want to give Cody Canady any chance to catch up. Hopefully within a few laps our intervals will start working. We do apologize since we had a delayed start. All of the data is catching up. There it goes. Just required our drivers to cross the line. And Green making a little bit of a late dive, but the Porsche able to keep the grip down to stabilize him. Darius is doing his best to run away from the driver. The last time I watched these drivers, that was at Mosport Canada. I missed the last round due to personal reasons, being out of town. But Green is definitely putting in a much better performance today than from what I saw at Mosport. Knowing Darius very well, to see him chasing down such a great driver is showing improvement from the beginning of this series. Seems he's picked a car and setup that is working well for him today in that number 20. Darius Timms making a dash down the line now. This long straight is going to provide an excellent opportunity for Green to be able to draft behind. The gap slowly closing, but on the braking point, it seems Darius has done a lot better of a job as the gap widens open just a little bit more. But the Porsche is able to lay down the speed in this downhill section, quickly closing the gap once again. It seems Darius is having a better time in the braking sections, but anytime it's a high-speed zone, Green is catching up. Incredible stuff here today. We are currently already a quarter into this race. With 45 minutes left on the clock, these races are 1 hour long in the GT3 category cars. Now, a very surprising thing to see is Ty Simon currently in the 8th place position. Typically, he is placing at least as a midfield driver in most of our events, so to see him so far down, I'm wondering if something happened off camera before we got the stream going. But Green continues to make a dash towards Darius. Some incredible stuff here today. The gap continues to widen and close. As we said before, these cars have some distinct advantages. In this straightaway, we'll see the Porsche gaining on the Ford Mustang. But in the turns, surprisingly, the Mustang is handling a lot better. Not the turns necessarily, but the braking sections. The Mustang is handling a lot better than the Porsche. Gergo currently leading with the Ferrari, with a BMW leading in second place as well on the podium positions. Seems the popular car of choice today is anything but the Ford. But Darius is determined to put it on the podium here again today. Eating a little bit of the dirt that's going to slow him down. The Porsche is going to have a chance to attack. Will Green go for a move? He's going to be pushed to the outside by the defense of Darius. They're side by side now as they enter the braking zone. Will Darius be able to outbrake? It seems like he will. I know recently he got a bit of an equipment upgrade by changing his rig. He's a little bit slower through this wide S's though, but he's able to maintain defensive maneuvers with that wider body Mustang. Darius, being a member of Shifty Racing himself, is repping the brand on the side of his car. And you can definitely say he deserves to be running it. He's earned plenty of cash rewards in Shifty Racing events in the past. Both when we used Automobilista 2, and currently he's on the path to earn some new rewards in iRacing as well. Green making an attempt to go to the outside, but Darius able to block him perfectly through the S's section. And again, that wider body Mustang just doing a great job of blocking the nimble Porsche. This feels like when a shield meets a sword in this attack. Darius just keeps on blocking the relentless attacks from Green here today at Virginia. And once again, into the braking section, you see that gap widen back up, but the Porsche will be able to put back down the speed into the downhill section, immediately closing the gap from 0.7 back down to 0.3, really showing the strengths and weaknesses of these two types of cars, and why the GT3 category can be so interesting to watch. But Darius has definitely taken a liking to the Ford Mustang. He used to be more of a McLaren driver in the GT3s, but as of this last few months, he has definitely been enjoying the Ford Mustang more and more. And I cannot blame him. I believe that's going to be the next car I pick for myself. I tried the McLaren, and I was not quite a fan of it. It's got a lot of torque on the startup of gears, and I often was finding myself losing the grip in important turns that most of these other GT3 cars just glide through much more easily. But that is not a detriment to the McLaren itself. It's still a great car. I am just not great with it. But the Mustang, as we are seeing, is putting down a performance against the Porsche, a well-known popular car in iRacing, next to the Ferrari. And again, that shield is having to defend from the sword. The Canadian doing his best to continue holding his podium position from Green. The cars coming so close together through some of these turns. And we can't count out Cody Canady as we can see him trailing slowly in from behind. He's only behind by 2.5 seconds, with his own relative behind him by only 0.2 or another 2 seconds as well. Nearly 3. Beautiful stuff from these drivers here today. And if you are joining us on the stream, we do appreciate it. Darius has managed to widen the gap once again to about half a second. But as we've seen, the Porsche is going to be able to glide around these turns a lot more smoothly. Once again, that gap closing. We can see the Porsche making an attempt as they go through the S's once again. Or not the S's, I apologize. We're on the later section of the track. This is going to be the wider turn. Beautiful stuff from these two drivers. The cameras cannot get enough of them. They are the closest action on the track at the moment, since Gergo has a strong dominant lead over Angelo Moranti, who is currently also farther ahead from Darius and Green. Darius having to do his best to both try to catch up to the second place position while defending from Green definitely is no easy task. But as a man who drives tracks like the Nürburgring consistently, he knows how to maintain long-term attacking speed towards a driver that's much further ahead of him. Then making the way down the hill once again. Darius is going to be able to utilize his beautiful braking technique as he makes his way over the curb just a little bit on the inside. But Angela is going to have that speed going back down. Or not Angela, I apologize. Green is going to have that speed going back down into the hill. Less than half a second of a gap remains between these two drivers. They are keeping it neck and neck. It's a beautiful race that we're seeing from these two, and I'm sure Darius is having a very fun time. He loves some good, hard, close racing, and he often has trouble finding that sometimes in leagues when there's no driver that's in a closer range to his skill. But today, Green is giving him a fight that I'm sure he's loving. Maybe a little bit of frustration that he can't run away, but I know it's fueled with the passion to get back on the track every time when he has drivers going up against him like this. And I think that goes for any driver that truly enjoys the adrenaline of racing so close to another person. Whether it's on the track or in the sim, that feeling is such it's a feeling you want to chase. That's all I know how to say. I love it myself. And Green just continuously attacking. This has been going for more than 7 minutes now that these two drivers have been on such a similar pace despite having such different times through each sector and turn. And another lap has been completed by the drivers. Nothing is stopping them today from continuously attacking one another, because realistically, as we've seen on the grid throughout this race, the drivers have not been too far apart, aside from Matthew and Ty being a little bit further behind and Angelo and Garrigo a little bit further ahead. But the drivers themselves have been killing it today. I do apologize. We had some little bit of a difficulty there, but that is going to be the pass by Green. Darius made a mistake. I was actually trying to speak about it, but Darius was doing such a wonderful job of managing his way through the turns, even over the curbs. But at that moment that I was trying to say that, he managed to accidentally screw up and go wide, which gave Green a chance to pass. And in the chaos, Cody Canady is caught up too. And now it is a three-way battle for the third place position. This is the kind of action we like to see in any kind of race. Darius making his way back up. Oh, and it looks like Green is taking his pit stop. Now, I know when they had Most Sport, not all drivers actually opted for the pit stop, so this is an interesting choice indeed. But that is going to give the third place position back to Darius, but he still hasn't quite earned it completely yet. He still now has to fight Cody Canady. He swapped out one driver for another, but now it is Ferrari that he is fighting up against in his Ford. I'm sure any movie fan that is joining us will love this reference here today as we watch the Ford versus Ferrari action beginning here at Virginia in the RoadMaster series hosted by Shift E Racing. These drivers are fighting for prizes each season at the end for the top 3 drivers. And currently the Canady relatives are making their way after Darius. It's awesome to see not only 2 relatives on the track together, but also next to each other in position, although Colby does have some time to make up. But seeing as the 2 Ferraris are currently next to each other on the track, at least in terms of position, I have to assume they're possibly running similar setups as well, so we know Colby has a car that can make this gap close. And now that Darius still has somebody on his tail, it's going to cause pressure to him. He has to keep hot laps down. Otherwise, Cody is definitely going to make an attempt on him. Making their way down the hill now. We can see, though, unlike the Porsche, the Ferrari doesn't have quite the same strength in the downhill sections as the Porsche did with its lighter body. But the drafting potential is a lot better for this car. '31 versus number 7. The gap is closing. We're down to 0.3 seconds like we were seeing from Green earlier. Darius being a little shaky on the exit. It seems his tires may be experiencing some of the difficulties that other drivers are seeing here today. Possibly after having to be chased by Green for so long, he wore out his tires more than he intended. Just to get an idea of the track, it is currently 96 degrees on the track, which isn't too bad, actually. It's a lot cooler than some of the other days we've seen in a lot of the RoadMaster series or other Shift E Racing events. So that will help with tire management a little more than we've seen in some of the other races. But that Ford is definitely struggling. We can see that tail end is starting to fishtail just a little bit on the exits. Normally the Ford, being as heavy as it is with some downforce, doesn't do that. So we can see that the tires are starting to wear. But Darius is experienced in these things. He'll know how to manage his tires so that an issue doesn't arise. If he starts to feel that they're unsteady, he'll make the pit if he needs to. But despite the tire wear, he's still doing his best to use as much of the track as possible. You can see those tires riding just on the sides of the curbs within the track limits. He's doing a good job despite the difficulties of his car at this point halfway through the race to maintain his position ahead of Cody Canady and Colby Canady. Making their way through the last parts of the track once again. The drivers are doing their best to maintain the tires as much as possible while keeping this pace for podium position. And for those who have been joining us in the streams, just so you know, we will be updating some of our overlays soon, as we've been having some issues after the recent iRacing update with some of the tracking. As you can see, it keeps showing that Darius is still currently just sitting at the northern part of the track, but that definitely is not the case, as we can see as he's continuously holding that 3rd place position here at Virginia. Repping Shift E Racing well today. The drivers are currently 17 laps in, so we'll be expected to be finishing around lap 34 or 35. We'll go ahead and take a look down the drivers now. We can see that Colby Canady is currently still chasing after the 2. His gap has actually opened up a little more to 4 seconds, so he needs to work a little harder to catch up to the 2 other drivers if he possibly wants to help Cody attack Darius. Back here we have the number 47. I don't think we've seen much of Matthew today, if at all yet so far, so good chance to catch a glimpse of him. Following behind, this is not who I expected. This is actually Ty Simon. We know Green is a lap ahead of him if that is the case still. And there is Green currently. Taking a look further back, that was a Ferrari. I believe that is going to be Gergo, who is leading our race at the moment. He's been doing a wonderful job. Currently has a 6-second gap to Angelo Moranti, who's also been a strong competitor in this series. If we take a look back now, that is going to be the BMW of him now. Loving the colors. The blue, red, and yellow really mesh well together. I love to see it. But taking a look back to the third place position, we're back with Darius as he continues to make his way, or at least attempt to make his way further away from Cody Canady, but the gap is closing as they enter into the braking section. Like we said, the Ferrari has a lot better time maintaining that draft behind this Ford compared to the Porsche, who was having a better advantage in the turns and the straightaways. But overall, this Ferrari is going to have a lot better of a chance to chase after Darius through every single section of the track, with just lesser performance throughout all of it. It seems Colby behind is also trying to do a good job to make that gap slowly close once again. He's got it down from 4 seconds to 3.7. If he can keep this up per lap, he can definitely catch up and put his name in the fight for podium today. Making their way down the hill. Seems Cody Canady is struggling a little bit there on this lap, but it's not going to matter. That Ferrari is going to be able to chase after the Ford. Now, he wants to be able to get to the inside, but Darius has been doing a great job of making sure to cut it off so that he can't easily be passed. Ooh, contact. Light contact from the Ferrari. It's going to be a bump and run. Darius is not going to be happy about that. He's still on his brakes, it looks like. I'm not too sure what's happening there. It might just be a visual bug at the moment. Or just a different tint on his lights. Yeah, okay, it is just a different tint on his lights. But he is making the attack now. He is no longer the shield of this race. He is the sword as he continues to attack now after Cody Canady from that bump and run. Making their way up the S's once again. Darius is now struggling. The difference between these two cars is that the Ford doesn't benefit from the draft the same way the Ferrari does, with that wider body and taller frame. But the power behind that car still remains. It's going to continue to attack after Cody with a 0.3 second gap now. Slowly closing in as they make their way towards the braking section. We know that is Darius' specialty so far in this race, is his excellent braking capabilities. Now the question is, did Cody receive any kind of aero damage from that tap? Because he definitely got his rear end underneath the back end of the Ford. And now that he doesn't have the leading position, Darius kind of needs to make sure he's not rubbing on the grass as much, as he's no longer able to block with his wide body. Making the attempt now, we see that the gap continues to open up. Cody Canady just needed the pass. It seems now that nobody's in front of him. He's starting to charge once again. But Darius is not going to give up, and neither driver has pitted. We've only seen 2 pit stops so far, one from Green and one from Ty Simon right now. Although I believe Ty Simon might be a DNF. We'll go ahead and check here soon as we cut back. Yeah, it seems that Ty has disconnected, so he is out of this race. Unfortunate for Ty today. He's might have actually had a disconnect, as I know recently in the Fundamental Cup he also had a game crash, so unfortunate for Ty today here at Virginia. But being where he was, he's at least not losing any positions today. But 25 minutes remain on the clock, and Darius doesn't have the same gap that the two drivers attacking him before had. He's been sitting closer to a half a second rather than a quarter of a second compared to his rivals when chasing. But a simple mistake from Cody Canady could change things, as we saw. It only takes one wrong corner for things to change. But the commentator's curse seems to be striking again. Darius is now down to a second from half a second. Or maybe our intervals just need to update. Apologies. Give it one moment. Oh, and Angelo Moranti has pitted. He's given up on his tires. I know this is not a mandatory pit stop race, so there is a chance these drivers will continue to hold on just to see if they can maintain their podium positions now. But Darius can't become too complacent as he still has Colby behind him. The gap is still 3 seconds. And a little more dirt on Darius's tires. He may need to pit this lap. I think he's starting to struggle too much. Making their way up the uphill S's now. The gap is now down to 2 seconds. Darius might need to be looking at a pit stop. We'll see if it happens here soon. This is not our pit box here at the moment. This is the alternative pit box for shorter races. And it seems he's still... Oh! And that's going to be Cody Canady going off. That's going to give Darius the second place position back, but nothing is guaranteed. As we've seen, he's been struggling around the track at this point. He did not opt for the pit stop, but Cody Canady has. Colby Canady is going to be continuously chasing from behind now. This makes me wonder if Darius now will opt for the no-stop strategy because he doesn't have anybody attacking him anymore. And I think he's confident enough seeing the gap behind him from Colby this whole time that Colby is not a problem, or at least not at the moment. And Garrigo as well still has not pit either, although he does have the gap to be able to do so. He has a 26-second lead, which is a beautiful, beautiful lead to have, especially right now as he makes his way down the straight. He definitely has something to think about here today. And Colby Canady's doing his best to chase down after Darius, but Darius is opening up the gap even more, and it's now at 4.5 seconds. Once again, we'll come here shortly to see if Darius will opt to make a pit stop or not now that his rival Cody has. But I really don't think at this point of the race, we're now 2/3 in, he wants to give up the podium position he's holding. He's got second place. And while Garrigo is nothing to be thinking about at the moment, the second place position is everything for him to be thinking about now. And here it is. He continues to stay out. No pit stop for Darius. Well, we see Colby come in. No, he is also opting to stay out. He's hungry for the third place position. I do not blame him with Angelo 16 seconds behind. As long as he can maintain a decent pace, he can definitely do it. And it seems Angelo may have had a mistake last lap as well, as he dropped down to a 149 last lap compared to his fast lap of nearly 146. Just below that with the 145.9. It seems he's improved it once again. Back down to 146.4. At the moment, we can see that Garrigo is still holding a beautifully strong lead here in the number 66 Ferrari. The C-Class driver... I should say now, since Ty Simon is no longer raced, the lowest ranked licensed driver is currently holding this race lead with a beautiful, beautiful near 30-second gap. Wonderful stuff from Garrigo here today. And it seems Green, despite the strong start, is actually still in the back of the pack, only ahead of Ty Simon because of the disconnect. It's not going to be something too happy to be thinking about, considering his pit stop really wasn't anything too disconcerting. I believe he made it at about 40 minutes into the race. That is the number 7 of Cody Canady attempting to make his way back up to the podium positions with 19 minutes left on the clock. He's got a lot to work for now, but he does have a fresh set of tires, hopefully, to be able to make it through. And that is Angelo Moranti currently holding the 4th place position. He's trying to chase after Colby as well. He's actually got the closest gap at the moment. It seems Colby may have had a mistake when we were going through our drivers, as his gap to Darius is now down to 17 seconds. It's going to open up even more as he enters into the pits. Angelo is back into the podium positions like he was from the start of the race. This is going to be big for him. Darius still hasn't made any pit attempt yet either, so this is going to shake things up if Darius needs to pit at any point. And it seems Cody Canady has also passed Kobe now in the pits. So Cody Canady does have a chance, if anything happens to the front runners in front of him, to be able to take back a podium position here today. The other drivers currently are a little bit further behind, with Matthew Orwas in 6th place and Green in 7th. That's going to be Colby Canady now at the back of the pack with his pit stop. I wonder if he accidentally left fueling on. This is a really long pit stop for the driver. We do see he's coming out now. But at this deficit, with only 18 minutes, not even 17 minutes left in the race, I don't know what he'll be able to accomplish here. We're going to be seeing Garrigo coming out now, coming up behind him. And we're currently taking a look back. It looks like Green has actually caught up to the driver in front of him at this point. He's chasing after Matthew Orwas. The two drivers battling for 5th place position at the moment. While Green did have his time in the spotlight at the start, we can now take a look at what these two drivers are able to do. Matthew Orwas versus Green begins. Orwas going a little wide on the exit into the straight. They're making their way down now. We know that Porsche has a strong drafting ability, especially coming up into this next section. It's going to have the advantage compared to the BMW from what I understand. Although it seems Green may have possibly some body damage or aero damage that's causing him to not be able to keep pace. Or the BMW simply is just built for the straight line speed. But we do see it there where the Porsche was strong earlier. I don't believe that was contact, but that is going to be the pass from Green. Great stuff here today. He's able to maintain a new position now compared to where he was sitting on the back just a few laps ago before Colby pitted. But the battle isn't over yet. Matthew can still catch up. These are the two drivers closest to each other on the grid at the moment. Green doing a good job to maintain his speed. Now that he's clear from Matthew, he's doing a good job of opening up the gap. It's now up to almost a 1.5 seconds. And there it is. That is going to be a 1.5 seconds now. Great stuff from Green in the Porsche. Currently the only Porsche on the grid now. He has something in common with Darius. And taking a look at it now, we can see that Darius still has not pitted. He has a decent gap from Angelo, but it's not enough to have a safe pit stop. If he comes out, he'll definitely be in the 3rd place position. So I think at this point he's opting for the nose stop, because if Angelo somehow does close the gap, it might be worth the risk compared to taking a much bigger risk with the pit stop. Garrigo continues to hold a strong lead currently with a back marker behind him. I believe that might have been Cody Kennedy. It's hard to tell since the two relatives are running a similar livery. Ooh, and it seems one of them has gone off. That's going to be the number 4 of Colby. And at this stage of the race, a mistake like that unfortunately means I don't think he'll be getting any positions back unless a driver in front of him has a fatal mistake that destroys their car. I think Darius has the right option today, aside from Garrigo's natural pace, who, again, still has not pitted. It seems Darius may need to. Garrigo does have the safe opportunity to pit at this point, so we may see that from him at some point soon. But realistically, his no-stop strategy may work out. It seems he's had great speed, but also great tire preservation throughout the race. Currently holding the fastest lap, the only person with a 1:45.5. The only closer other driver being Angelo Moranti, who is slowly catching up to Darius if he continues to make any mistakes like we just saw from Matthew Warwas. Now we see the gap is up to nearly 36 seconds. I think Garrigo, realistically, unlike Darius, does have the option to pit and finish this race safely on new tires. Although you do have to take your first lap or two out a little bit safer after the recent tire changes in the iRacing system earlier this year. But Garrigo continues to make it look easy. The gap's staying at 35.5 seconds. He will not give up the pace despite the fact of where we are in this point in the race. 12 minutes remain, and our podium positions seem to be pretty well rounded out. Although Angelo Moranti getting a little shaky there as his tires dip off into the grass. But he's through for now in his BMW. He has already pitted. So seeing moves like that must be driver error, less than the car's wear and tear at this point. So he'll need to take it a little bit easier just to secure his position. He's got 51 seconds now behind Darius, so there's no need to worry about that anymore. And Darius once again continuously skipping the pit stop. I think at this point, yes, these two drivers at the front are opting for the no-stop strategy. It's risky, but it is definitely doable in these series with only 1 hour on the clock. You just have to manage the tires well at the end stage or the mid stage. And it seems another Canadian has gone off. That is going to be the number 7 of Cody this time. He's going to lose some pace from Angelo after that mistake. Realistically, he is the one driver on the grid who does have a chance back at a podium position, but he needs to lock in at this point with 11 minutes left. And that seemed to have briefly been the number 4 of Colby Canadian once again, having might have gone off track again. The camera not too sure where it wants to be. We're having it on the follow crashes, so if an incident does occur, we cut to that if there's no good gap at the moment. Ooh, and that's going to be green off the track. It's going to give Matthew some chances to catch up now. And once again, Garrigo just steadily holding his lead position with a 35-second gap the last we saw. Seems the splits are having a little bit of difficulty determining now that the gap is so wide from some of our front runners. And Darius still opting out for the no stop. 10 minutes left. He is committed to it at this point. And Garrigo just continuously increasing his gap. It's now up to nearly 40 seconds just in the last sector alone. Once again, this is the RoadMaster Racing Series hosted by Shift E Racing, brought to you by Joshua South. I am your commentator for the day, Rack Racing. This race has definitely been full of plenty of action early on, but we're now in the late stage where some of our drivers have settled in. The closest drivers on track to each other being Green and Warwas, but no action actually occurring yet between the two as the gap is still just a little too wide. So we continue to follow with Gergo at the moment. And the gap between the two drivers, Green and Warwas, has opened up once again, so the action there has stopped for the moment. Warwas not able to keep a consistent pace throughout the laps, although both drivers do seem to have had an incident as a 148 and a 151 came out from those two drivers. Gergo, on the other hand, is slowly catching up to the back markers now. They'll need to get out of the way at some point to let this front runner through. And that is going to be Darius. The tires have finally given out. He has plenty of time to recover, but it might be at this point that he needs to consider the pit stop. There's no reason not to. He has the interval gap of 48 seconds. I'm sorry, no, that's to the car in front of him. There's only 10 seconds of the gap behind him now. And even behind that is only a 20-second gap to Cody Canady. He needs to be a little bit more consistent, but slow down just a tiny bit if he wants to make it to the end of this race safely. That was going to be unfortunate for Darius. That's a huge gap lead that was lost for his second place position. Gergo slowly making his way towards the back markers now. Now, despite running a similar strategy to Darius today, we have not seen any issues coming up from this driver. He has seemed to have managed his tires very well, or his setup accommodates weak tires very well. Gergo truly showing that his pace hasn't been dropping at all. He actually set his fastest lap on the last lap of this race. The man is not backing down at all. He doesn't even have a need at this point. He's attacking the back markers that realistically stand no threat to him whatsoever. But we'll see it here. Will Matthew just easily get out of the way for the driver? He's hovering to the middle of the track. You need to move, Matthew. But Gergo has the skill. He'll be able to make a move past this driver now. As they enter in, Warwas does a good job letting him through, but benefiting him with the draft. Very kind of Matthew. No need to do that, though. The guy is 50 seconds ahead. Just get out of his way. Beautiful stuff. He's now making his way towards Green, who previously was fighting for podium earlier in this race with Darius. While this last half of the battle has been with himself, Darius has had battles on the track, it feels like, the whole time. 5 minutes remain, so all they need now is about 4 laps of just clean driving, and each driver should be able to secure their position. Gergo doing a great job once again, just simply powering through these laps. It's insane that he still set a 145.8 on his last lap, right after setting the 145.5. This man is a monster today here at Virginia. And still with no pit stop nonetheless. This man is making it look too easy. And that is going to be back to Darius at the moment. Darius has actually lost the position now officially to Cody Canady. He's out of the podium positions. Angelo Moranti's up to second. That is going to be unfortunate. I think I just saw Warwaz disconnect as well, briefly. Okay, he's back in. But Warwaz is currently experiencing some connection issues. But yeah, that is going to be unfortunate for Darius. He's now dropped down to the 4th place position with only 3 minutes left on the clock and a 13-second gap in front of him. Unless Cody Canady just simply crashes, Darius is missing out on the podium today, which is unfortunate. But I'm sure Angelo and Cody are both happy about it as they're now securing more points for the season ahead of this rival of Shift E Racing. Once again, at this point, I think, unless Gergo really does make a fatal mistake, it's easy to say congratulations to him today. Leading a huge, massive gap in this race, I'm sure, was easy for him as he's made it look. But it is not so easy to do every day. So huge congratulations to Gergo at the moment. Definitely driving above his license level. And as we say that, he is making his way towards green now and should be making the overtake as long as green respects the blue flags prominently. So thank you once again to those who joined us in the stream, or for those who have watched us on YouTube. This has been the RoadMaster Racing Series hosted by Shift E Racing. Today it seems our podium positions have been fairly determined, unless Cody Canady makes a very fatal mistake. We have Gergo taking the podium position of first here at Virginia, with Angelo Moranti in second, followed by Cody Canady in third, Darius currently holding fourth, Green in 5th, Warwaz in 6th, and Colby Canady in 7th, with Ty Simon disconnecting early in 8th. They're making their way around the track for the last time now. Seems Gergo has opted not to make any more passing attempts on back markers to finish the race clean and smooth, although he does need to be careful with that dirt and dust that's being kicked up by the Porsche ahead of him. And we can see it there, the tires kind of starting to give out now. But good stuff from Gergo today. Once again, congratulations, Gergo, you have earned it. And that is going to be the official final lap now. We'll see Warwaz coming in to finish in 6th. And here's Angelo Moranti being chased down by Cody Canady for the 2nd and 3rd place positions. Cody going just a little bit wide there. Don't want to lose it at this point of the race. Definitely not the final lap when you have Darius right behind you. So that will do it for today. This has been, once again, the RoadMaster Racing Series. Wonderful performance from our drivers today. Lots of action in the early phases of the race and lots of tire management in the second half, which really showed with some of our drivers losing that grip, such as Darius, Cody, It's not an easy task to handle a no-stop race, but Gergo today has definitely shown it's possible. So huge props to him.